Rise and shine, YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about the EC3-DW versus the CW, right? Zowie did send this out for review, and well, that's what we're going to do. Coming in at just 59 grams, the DW has a drastic weight change from around 77 grams versus the CW. Yes, 77 versus 59, 59 grams all day long. This feels much better weight balanced. It feels effortless in hand. It feels just you can do whatever you need to do, and there's not much holding it back because of the 59 grams. I did take the magnets out of both of these, giving you around an extra 2-gram weight reduction. And if you're wondering, well, you have the charging dock. These do charge without the magnets. Magnets are only there to get you a nice, solid, firm connection to the base. Now, they do charge. I have tried it charging it overnight. Perfectly fine, no issues there. So I just took the magnets out, and I was using the metal mouse pads from Two Dudes Gaming, and they were magnetizing, so that's the reason why I did take them out. I took them out on every single Zowie mouse that I have, and it just felt perfect on the metal pads in general. With the Zowie EC3-DW versus the CW, you have, in my opinion, better clicks on the DW. They're much more spammable, right? The CW is still very, very clean. They have a little higher pitch than the DW, so I do like the more subtle sound. I do like the constant crisp and the lightness to the DW, and I think they feel incredible. The scroll wheel, on the other hand, is a little more stiff than I would like on the DW. I don't know if it's just my copy, but the CW is just ever so slightly more spammable than the DW. But once again, you're not really spamming clicks with your scroll wheel in game unless you have it macroed to something, but it's perfectly fine. The scroll versus the CW is a little more recessed in sound, which is very, very nice. The CW is actually pretty loud. CW is much, much more recessed, but you do feel every single step, which is very nice on a scroll wheel, because, you feel it, you see it, and it just feels good to use in game. Side buttons are very, very clean. They're very, very crisp, not clisp. Very, very crisp. They actually feel much more sturdy and more refined than the CW, where the CW kind of has a slight more pre-travel, where the DW just has no pre-travel at all. There's no mushiness on the back end, really no pre-travel on the back end. You can get them to go a little bit, but you don't really notice that ever. With the pre-travel and post-travel on the clicks, right, you can get these to kind of go down a little bit more if you want them to, but you will never notice that in game. And for side-to-side wobble while you're using it, I've never noticed it. You don't get it, and there is no click grind. So overall, QC on the DW is, in my opinion, perfect, right? There's nothing wrong with this mouse. There's no flexing. There's no creaking. There's nothing crazy going on. It's a nice, clean mouse. Yes, these do come in around $150, but you're getting a nice, good QC. You're getting driverless kind of software. Not software, but you get a driverless way to change every setting on the mouse, all the way down to debounce, DPI, polling rate, lift-off distance even. Everything is just driverless, and it feels good. I hate downloading software because sometimes the software is a malware. Endgame gear, I'm looking at you. Driverless software is going to be the best. Web-based software is going to be just, solid. I have been using Pulsar mice, Final Mouse mice, the Zowie mice, and I haven't had to download a single software on my computer, and it just feels good not to have a bunch of crap on my PC. Now, let's talk about the coating. The coating is nice. It's kind of like Zowie's classic, rubberized coating. It feels good. It does pick up fingerprints pretty easily, but it doesn't change how the coating feels. You don't get a slickness. You don't get a clamminess. It feels very, very good no matter how long you use the mouse, no matter if you get a little, kind of oil on your hands, oil buildup. It feels good overall. Doesn't feel sticky, slippery, anything. Feels awesome, right? These mice are so well done, and just it's super nice to see just updated Zowie mice, because Zowie has been a goated company with their shapes, and their shapes are well liked across the entire community. Now, when it comes to skates, I did remove the skates. They come with their F skates. Now you can see the skate profile is definitely changed from the CW to the DW. Zowie's DW taking the same shape for the skates as all the other DW kind of mice. They're kind of gonna be more uniform, but I did not really like how just you got a slight more tug, because they are larger skates. Larger skates will yield you a more kind of overall, surface area for friction can be applied, and that's where you get that little slowdown. So I did take them off. I mean, even on the CW, I took them off. Put dot skates. You can see all the trial and error for trying to figure out where I can place the dots and not get wobble. But if you're looking at this right now, I can confirm that I have 0 wobble on my mouse, and this is where I just placed the skates. And if you do use the full form skates, they are actually very good. The white ones are a little more speed oriented, and the black ones are more control oriented. They feel good, they feel smooth, they don't have crazy texture feedback or anything like that. They feel really good. So me, in general, I just like dots because I've been using dots for the longest time. You got all the updated internals, 4K enhanced receiving, right? Nothing like crazy going on, but it's just a nice updated sensor, updated internals, updated just performance in general. But now when it comes to the meat of the video, let's talk about the shape. So I did confirm with Zowie that there is a subtle shape change. Now, I don't know if you can see it from here, but I can. The Zowie DW is slightly wider in the front here. Now, that is because Zowie did take that notch and kind of made it more rounded. So that notch on the left-hand side or right-hand side where I place my ring finger isn't as prominent as the CW. So even just swapping from here, that notch is like right in here where my finger kind of lays, is much, much more in depth, making this feel more kind of like narrow in the front than the DW. So it feels wider in hand, which wasn't something that I necessarily liked, because that's what gave the CW like its nice distinction, is that notch on the right hand side, just making you have that nice locked in feel with the CW. And I never had an issue like changing grips or anything like that, because my ring finger was so locked in on this mouse that it just felt good. Now with the DW, I'm always trying to find that notch on the side. I'm always trying to get that lock-in feel, and it just doesn't happen. So I'm constantly putting a little more force on my ring finger to kind of get a good grip. But it's something that I did notice. I did get confirmation from Zowie, and they did confirm that that change is a thing. They're like, hey, you are actually very sensitive to that, so it's pretty cool to see. And you can even tell from underneath on the mouse that they're at the front end, there is a more wideness, like between here versus here. The CW is more narrow than the DW. You can even just tell. So with that shape change being a thing, right now, I would still prefer the X-Lite Crazy Light. One, it is a much, much more smaller mouse. I don't need a notch to feel more comfortable on the kind of X-Lite, because it is more narrow on the side in general than the DW or the CW. And it has more defined finger grooves. The thumb groove is more kind of just in the mouse. It has a more inward curve with your thumb. But in general, like, the DW shape isn't bad. It just isn't my favorite. And they kind of took the distinct, unique kind of notch they have on their Zowie mice and kind of made it more bloated. So the DW really wasn't something that I fell in love with. The CW still being my top Zowie Ergo shape because of that notch. For me, having small hands, that is a big change, and I was kind of disappointed for that. So, in general, the DW shape isn't bad, right? It's just something that I found to be a little disappointment for that notch change, a little more wideness. It's a more bulbous feeling mouse than the CW, and I just kind of would still prefer the CW over the DW even, just because of the shape. You know, for me, shape is king. Shape will always come first over weight and everything like that, because with a good shape, you're going to have a good, comfortable gaming session. You're going to have a more locked in and focused feeling into your game than you are trying to find that comfortable grip or changing your grip all over the place to trying to meet the mouse. The mouse should meet you. You should never meet the mouse. Bada bing, bada boom. So we talked about the weight. We talked about coding, clicks, skates. We talked about everything that needed to be talked about this mouse. And yes, I would recommend this if you do like Zowie mice, if you do want a smaller ergo from Zowie and you want the updated internals, there you go. But if you want that classic EC3 feel, I would still go for the CW over the DW all day long. Without further ado, love you guys. Rise up. God bless, and we'll see you for the next one.